Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're going to start our program now. Just a few more minutes as we are going to, or we're going to go live, okay? Welcome, welcome, everyone on Facebook. Welcome to the live open session of Psychology of Money. Okay, let me just go into my a second while I'm going to go live on Instagram. And while I'm going to go live, okay, just going to make sure. Okay. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Hello, everyone on Instagram. Hello, everyone on Facebook. I am here for our next session within the Psychology of Money program. Today, we're going to do something absolutely amazing. We're going to talk about energy of money. Those of you on Facebook may have an easier time because I have a wonderful presentation here. Those of you on Instagram, I'm just going to have to explain myself with my handwork, right? I'm going to talk with my hands. But no, we're going to definitely, I will be explaining everything. And you will be able to see the whole video, of course, on YouTube afterwards. Or again, go to Facebook, same name, Lana Shalom. You can find me on Facebook and start watching the open session. For those of you who just wandered in, for those of you who don't know much about me, my name is Lana Shalom. I'm a certified Neurographica instructor and coach. I'm a certified psychology of money trainer, also practitioner, trainer. And I've been bringing to you a series of open videos where we talk about the psychology of money, how to develop your energy of money, how to figure out what's happening with the energy of money. What is energy of money? How do you increase the flow of money? And again, when we discuss this, this is not just, integrative practices, but we're actually speaking, specific practical advice. I will be giving you specific psychology or discussing the specific idea behind the psychology of money, within the psychology of money, within each session. Okay, so today we will be discussing the energy of money. Okay, what is the energy of money? It's very interesting, right? When people say energy, right? When people say energy of money, people start thinking, oh, energy, then it must be something I can't really see, just only something people can feel. People start getting very, very transcendental, like they start thinking, oh, it's a meditation kind of thing. In this case, I would like to tell you, look around yourself. Everything you see, look around your room, look around your house, look around outside, even nature, right? In order to grow a tree, somebody has to plant that tree. Somebody has to buy the seeds and plant the tree. Somebody has to hire a gardener to take care of their tree, their flowers. If you're at home, look around. Every item you have in your house is a materialistic representation of the energy of money. So yes, energy of money is not just energy, as we refer to it, it's something we can't see or feel. You can definitely see it, you can definitely feel it. It's here, it's concrete. It's something that we all have, it's something we all need. It would be a strange if somebody would say, yeah, I don't know if I need the energy, if I need money, right? Because money is the way we live in this world. People who talk about not needing money or not necessarily connecting or depending upon money are really people who are kind of paying some kind of lip service, to the fact that they're trying to pretend they're very highly spiritual people. Yes, you can be a very highly spiritual people. I know people like that, highly spiritual people who still understand that money is an important entity within a person's life. It's a necessary entity. It's an important entity. We need it. We use it. We have it in our life. Okay. So let's start understanding what is money, right? What did money come from, right? Originally, money was a way originally. Originally, there was no such thing as money, of course. It was not an entity, okay? Original people would get things or food in exchange for something that they offered. They would offer an item, goods, or a service. So the original energy was the bartering system, right? You exchange an item for an item, or an item for a service, or a service for a service, okay? So before money, people would exchange goods and services through a system of bartering, okay? And it's interesting to know that when people would barter, they would exchange the energy that was invested in the item or service they bartered. So when somebody got a service or somebody got a good, they would receive the energy, the time behind it, the time, the investment of time and energy that person put when they manufactured, when they created that item, or when they were giving you that service, okay? And it's interesting to know that that's the energy of that person investing their time and themselves, their love, their creativity within the product, okay? And most of the time, the way the bartering would work, it would be an equal exchange of energy and time invested during the making, or whatever time and energy the person invested in the making of this product. The person would create a value for it and say, this is what I want to do, right? Look at this, right? You can see that over here, right? Bartering, right? Somebody's offering a banana and somebody's exchanging it for what? Apple, right? Somebody's offering a shoe and somebody's exchanging what? A bowl, right? Somebody's offering a fish and somebody's exchanging a kitchen tool, right? So it would be an equal, more or less, the way both people would see it. They would say, okay, it's worth for me to invest that apple that I grew in my orchard for a banana that person grew in their, the grew or brought from another country. Okay, again, equal bartering. People would decide, is it worth for me to exchange that apple? Is it for one banana? Or is it for two bananas, right? That would be something people decided on their own. The buyer and basically both traders. Okay. With time, it's interesting to start noticing money was introduced as an alternative to bartering. So people would start using money as a universal way of exchanging an item or a service for money, which then they would exchange for another service or item, hence expanding the options available to each person or a group of people, right? Let's say you have a shirt and you come to somebody who is selling a shoe. You want to sell your shirt and buy a shoe. However, that person doesn't need a shirt. So what can you do? You need the shoe, but the person doesn't need a shirt. What can you do? So this genius product was invented, right? I want to mention that at that time, it was a revolutionary invention, right? Something was created, some kind of what we refer to it as money or currency, right? Where that person gives you a symbol, right? Originally, it was a coin. We're going to discuss this soon. It was a symbol of something that they say, here, look, this is a symbol. You go to my friend, right? I'm going to get a shoe from you. I'm going to give you this symbol, let's say a coin in this case, and go to my friend on the corner that sells baked items, right? Is that what you need? You need baked items? And the person will be, yeah, I would rather, exchange my shoes for the baked item. He said, how about I'll give you this symbol, this coin. You take that coin afterward and you go and get the baked product of your need for your essential needs, right? For your primary needs, right? And that's so interesting. And that's what was created. And that was a genius idea, because then people, have more availability, more options in how they need to exchange, but it still was an exchange. This is important to understand. It was still an exchange of time, energy, creativity, maybe even happy thoughts that was invested in the creation of the product, the original trading product, okay? So soon bartering kind of went away and people started using more and more money, currency as a better system to exchange their products or services, okay? So originally, the coins, right? Coins were used as a form of currency, okay? First, it was silver money, okay? Silver was much more available, much more kind of, I would say, much more affordable by most money, right? By most people. The rich people would start using gold as a way to show more sophistication, a more posh way of using money, of having a different kind of currency, again, separating the kind of the economic systems, right? Who uses gold is more rich, who uses silver, more like middle to lower class. And then, of course, they also added copper and lead. Do want to tell you that, of course, copper is much less valuable than silver, and lead is definitely much, much less valuable than silver. So again, separation into like a casting, right? Separation into different economic systems that people would live in, okay? So people started using coins to exchange their goods and services, right? And it's interesting to start noting that coins, let's take silver again, the most widespread type of currency used to be silver. So what would people do, right? They would, let's say somebody comes to buy shoes and they give you silver. Again, traders decide whether it was worth, the person who is selling the shoe decide how much silver coin do they want to get. And of course, it would depend on the value of the silver, right? Within that place, geographical location, right? This reminds me of a famous story, and it came to my mind, and I would want to share with you this very interesting story. Give me a second, let me see. Okay, very interesting story where okay. Where this person has heard, his person John, right? He's living in his country, in his motherland, right? And he's working very hard, he's earning money, and he has a hard time he has a hard time gathering money. And all of a sudden he hears about this interesting land where they have a lot of money and it's easy to make money. And he's like, oh, I should go I should travel to that money, right? And he loved eating onions, right? So he takes a whole bag of onions with him, and he travels on a boat, he comes to this country, and what does he see? He sees that there are money laying on the floor, right? On the ground, right? They have like all over, right? And he takes money, right? And he gathers everything. He has one bag of money, two bags, he has big sacks of money. He's like, that's it, I'm rich, I'm done, I'm good. And he starts, gathering. He's like, okay, now I'm going to wait for a boat back to my country, right? And the boat is supposed to go like a week later. It goes like once a week, right? And he's like, okay, meanwhile, what am I going to do here for a week? And he's like, you know what? I'm hungry and I'm rich, so I can afford anything I want to. he comes to the restaurant and he goes into a restaurant, he sits down, he's like, okay, bring me the finest food, the finest wine, everything. People bring him, the waiter serves him the food, and he eats, and he's like, bring me more, and he eats a lot of food. And then he says, there you go, I'm going to give you the money, and he takes that money and he gives it. And the waiter looks at him, he's like, what is this? Says, this is the money they paid for the food. And he says, that means nothing to us. It's worthless. Didn't you see that laying down on the street? If it would be something worthy, it would not be laying down on the street. That's not what counts with us. It says, really? What does count with you guys? It says this kind of amazing yellowish, orangish kind of produce that grows on the floor. People put it in the food, and it's the most delicious. It's very valuable. It's only being manufactured by the king, and the king sells it, and only rich people can afford it. And, it's not something that, so when you came to the restaurant, I thought you're one of those rich people and you have what you pay with for the food. So this guy, John, takes out the onions from his bag and he says, is this what you're talking about? And he says, yeah. And he says, really, you guys? And he says, yes, all this food you just ate can be exchanged for one onion. Okay. And there's like a continuation of that story, but we're not going to go into it now. The idea here that I wanted to bring you is that people decide, people figure out what is the currency they use in their country, in their story. I want to say in their country, right, in their geographical location, and they start using it. They all agree, right? Probably not all people, but let's say, something called the government agree upon a certain currency, and they start using it. It used to be coins. Again, silver coins were the most widespread. Gold was used by rich people. So when you start getting gold and using gold, that would be, more and more using gold would mean that you are getting into a different economic system. But it's important to know that all of that was still using coins, using money, using this entity that's heavy, that's imprinted on, that has, a certain symbol, that has a certain value. You could feel it, right? And by the way, silver was of equivalent value. You could take that silver coin, go to the silversmith, and you can do something with that silver, right? You can use it for, like, I don't know, a horse tool or something, the things you put on top of the horse and the thing you put on the, the horseshoe and everything. Silver was still a valuable entity, right? So you could actually use that's money. Currency could be used as a currency, as an exchange system, as an actual system of value. Okay. But it's interesting to start noting that with time, that value system started changing. At certain time, the value system has changed into a paper, right? What we currently have, right? Paper money started becoming more widespread. And it's interesting to start noting that compared to silver or gold or even copper and lead, paper costs much less. The value of paper is much, much less. It's interesting to start understanding how the proportionally, right, the value of the energy of money, right, the energy you put in would coincide with the value of the silver coins. But then everything turned into paper. Paper by itself is not so valuable. It's really valuable as a mental value, right? What is paper? The way we acquire our knowledge, we read books, we become, smarter, become more knowledgeable. That was the value of paper, right? When you take paper, you touch it. Yes, paper, of course, has the 3D things. The money has a 3D thing, right? The counterfeit kind of support system they put in. But it's interesting. Paper can just easily be ripped up, right? Have any of you gotten money from like a store or something where it was like taped back and you're like, can you exchange it? I don't want this money. Because to you, it's like all of a sudden, this is not just money, it's just a piece of paper that was ripped up and then taped again. Like, come on, right? So that's interesting to start noting that the value of the currency system kind of went down while the energy that we still put into the goods and the services still stayed the same. again, degrading, devaluing this the money system, right? Or original, or the idea was what the money original was invented to represent, right? The energy, the time invested in certain services or goods, right? And then as we went ahead, what do we have? We have credit cards, which is like even a bit more devalued than the paper currency, right? Credit card is plastic, as many refer to it, right? It's made out of plastic. What is plastic? It's like very cheap. It's very, it has no value to it. Yes, it cannot be ripped, but it's not valuable. It's not silver. Have you ever gotten? I remember when I got the American Express card, my son looked at it and he's like, "Whoa, that's one essential credit card," because it was heavier. It was like really thick kind of plastic. It wasn't like the cheap type, like regular credit card. It felt like metal, and they even put the metal around the edges. It really felt valuable. Okay. I remember thinking at that moment, whoa, what a great way to create a credit card that shows we are a value system. We're not just a cheap plastic. We are valuable, and the card itself was quite heavy. I want to tell you, it was amazing. I love that card, right? It's so interesting to start noticing that it's the same thing here, right? The plastic, the credit cards are becoming, again, less valuable entity. Okay, it's smaller, it can get easily lost, but the value it has is associated with so much value. The lost credit card is very serious, right? Somebody can take it and use it, God forbid, right? So it's so interesting to start noticing, again, the value of currency nowadays is like the type of currency we're using is like losing its value. If you think about a physical materialistic value, mostly has mental value associated with it, right? What do we have nowadays for the last, 20, 30 years, right? We have cryptocurrency, we have Apple Pay, we have, Google Pay, all kind of software kind of program that we use as money. We can't physically touch it. If at least paper or even plastic credit card, we were able to touch it. Here, we don't even touch it. We don't even understand. We don't have it physically on us, right? So again, the system is changing. The currency system is changing so much. What do we have? We only have a mental association. We log into our banking, right, online. We'll look at the amount of money we have in our bank accounts, and we understand mentally how much it means, how much value we can get for it. But again, we don't have it on us. Yet when we go to buy a shirt, right, or a shoes or any other item, or items or services, right, we feel it materialistically. We wear the shoes, we wear the shirt, right, we put on the dress, right, we when we buy courses, right, we understand the value because we hear what I'm teaching, we hear the value, we get the knowledge from it. So that's so interesting to start understanding this and to start paying attention and start relating to all of that. It's so something to kind of become aware of, right? As the value system, as the materialistic, the physical entity system of money, of currency is changing, the original idea did not change. We're still within the money, within the value, of money we exchange. When we ask for a certain price for our product or services, we are investing, we're figuring out how much time and energy we invest. Those of you who are freelancers, right? Let's say psychologists, those of you who just became a sort of specialist in Neurographica, right? You start understanding, you start getting involved, you start becoming aware. And I have a lot of people asking me that question, people PMing me and saying, can you tell me how much should I be selling my Neurographic services for? What would be the price range? People have no idea. People are like, this is such a new method that people are like, what is it worth? How much does it cost, right? And that's interesting to start understanding. And this is exactly what happens when we work with the psychology of money program. We start understanding the value of money, right? Because money is not, again, if you think about it, when we talk about money with kids, they don't fully understand the concept, right? During this past Sabbath, my rabbi was actually talking about it. He said that when I grew up, I kept thinking the little coins were called charity. He didn't know. He was just used as a kid that they would give him a coin and say, here, let's give charity. And then he would put the coin into the box designated for charity. And it was so interesting to think about it, right? That what is your association with you as a child? What is your association? How do you see the energy of money, right? If you think about it, how do we notice, are we consciously aware of the fact that money is a way we influence the society? We influence our environment, right? It's not just the prestige in the society, by the way, right? How much money you have, how rich you are, are you a celebrity? Are you not a celebrity? Are you, there are rich people who are celebrities, and there are rich people who are, they're not celebrities, they're just rich quietly, right? There are socialites, and then there are people who, like I said, who are rich. They often own a lot of things, they have a lot of things, but they're not in social media, they're not into they're not a socialite, right? But also, if you think about it, aside from that, you don't have to be like an extremely rich person, a celebrity, what they call now an influencer, right? Money is just on a personal, individual level, is an everyday entity that you need for every single day, right? This is how you see money, right? As a way to value your, any item that you buy, right? Clothing, accessories, shows you go to see, what type of restaurants you go to, what type of clothes, right? Which store do you buy your clothing in, your food in, which restaurants you go to, they're all determined by the amount of money you guys have. So on a very personal level, that's also something to realize that money does define your social status, okay? Okay, so again, within the Psychology of Money program, that's exactly what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out, how do you see money? Today specifically will be our session on how do we say money, as I'm gonna say goodbye to you soon, and I'm gonna start the practical session with the Financial Regeneration course students. But we're gonna start discussing, what is the energy of money to you? How do you see it? Do you even see it? Does it exist to you? Can you, we're going to do a series of biodynamics. We're going to do a series of body-oriented processing, special kind of exercises, if you want to call it that way, special kind of movements that we're going to associate ourselves with money. And we're going to start figuring out what is happening here. How do we see money? How do we understand money? And how do we bring money, the energy of money? And again, remember that question I told you, people ask me, how much does it cost? How much should I be selling my Neurographica sessions for, right? Really, it's the way you see the value within your services, within what you see, within your energy, that you can figure out, is this something valuable, or is it something that's not as valuable and I'm not sure how to do this, okay? So thank you for your attention as we are nearing the open session segment of our Financial Regeneration class session today. I am going to say goodbye to Facebook, and we're going to start the practical Neurographic session. Those of you who are interested in joining our Financial Regeneration course, please welcome to PM me. Those of you may be interested in thinking, oh, we mentioned Neurographica. How do I start bringing the practice of Neurographica to others? Welcome to join the Specialist in Neurographica course, which we're starting in 2 weeks on November 2nd. So welcome to join, welcome to PM me. If you want to start using Neurographica within your practice as a way to earn money, as a way to use within your energy of money, welcome to PM me, and I'm looking forward to joining you. Tomorrow on Thursday, we will be having yet another session within the Pyramid of Consciousness. And on Thursday, tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have the egregors level of the Pyramid of Consciousness and how it relates to Neurographica. On Friday, we're going to go further. We're going to take the egregors and discuss the attachment to discuss our relationship with the egregor of money. Okay, so welcome to join us tomorrow for a live session at 10 a.m. and on Friday also at 10 a.m. for a live session on egregors of money. Okay, when you're live, you're welcome to ask me questions, write your comments and everything else. Thank you for your attention, everybody.